it does seem to me that some people have this Machiavellian approach to power.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to a certain extent, it seems to work for them.
Yeah.
So one person that like Trump is one person who comes to
Yeah.
mind.
I know.
And I even think that The Prince is one of his top book recommendations.
Is it
So
really?
I think so. I think I've
Ah,
yeah. I'm just like, even when I think of the word, when I think of the cultural, like the dominant cultural definition of power, like
yeah,
that's who I see. I see Trump. Like
I
he's
know.
like the embodiment of like that individualistic, capitalistic. I'm gonna
Yeah.
step on your toes. I'm gonna close the deal. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. You're gonna lose
Yeah.
kind of mentality. So
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if some people have become so skillful at using
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
manipulative approach to power that they can always find a way to obtain more power.
Yeah. No, absolutely. The first thing I'll say is Trump's a loser. He lost twice, but he's had a huge effect and massive power on the Republican Party. So thank you, Artem, for bringing it up. Yeah, you power is always changing. You go from Hitler to post World War II Germany, which became this very progressive culture, and now there's authoritarianism rising. And what we know is power is moving from a more Machiavellian view to more collaboration, but there are sectors where Machiavellianism still reigns. If you are working in certain places of finance, it's about Machiavellianism. If you are, if you're a Navy SEAL and you're going in to take out a terrorist, there's no holds barred. I mean, there are a lot of places where it really works. And Trump, it worked, and there was just a confluence of factors of, by the way, it's interesting because we have a paper, the people who really respond to Machiavellianism tend to be white men who feel left behind. They just like, that was their model of power, kind of comes out of a more colonialist, patriarchal view of human relations, like white people are supposed to be on top, men in particular. That's changing. And they responded to that Trump embodiment of that power. And that's the complexity of human life, that he's a genius at it, like Mussolini was, like Hitler, like Putin. Putin loves Machiavelli. And I always have to remind your listeners that Machiavelli was a theory of power that was written in the 16th century when most people couldn't read. There were not podcasts like this one. And it was a very violent time, but it's around us, and it has risen, which is worrisome. And I'm glad you're calling it out.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought up like the profession thing, and it's just, I have friends that are in different industries and different fields, and you could just see how that kind of, I mean, it shapes your worldview and it also shapes your understanding of power. And I have friends that, like, personally for me, Trump would, like, I feel like Trump illuminated the shadow side of America, so that
he did.
There was a purpose to him.
Yeah, thank you.
But like, I literally have friends that like look up to him, or like, like one of my friends was like, oh, like, who would you rather interview, Jordan Peterson or Donald Trump? And I was like, oh, obviously Jordan Peterson. And like, to him is like, no, I would rather talk to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So just interesting how like we look up to different things and we value different things, and we see power in different ways. Like, to me, I rather have, the kind of power that, say, Jordan Peterson has, than Donald Trump, even though Donald Trump is way more wealthy.
Yeah. No, I know. And this is what, good luck predicting power, right? We can predict forest fires and heart attacks, but man, power, because if you go back to your analysis of how rap and hip hop gain power, right? It's this dynamic force that influences people, that creates social capital, that creates cultural movements. And that's hard to predict. We just don't know which way all those collectives will turn. And Trump arrived, he took on all those Republican nominees like Bush and Marco Rubio, who just felt weak and bland, and he electrified a lot of people. And that's how humans are. it's always a complicated story.